From looking at my countertop through the video screen, I have to tell you that I want to say it looks like I was going to tell you what recipe I'm making, but I think I should just say I'm making a mess. I'm going to try another Oh She Glows recipe, and this one is 5 ingredient no bake vegan date squares. So the recipe, the crust calls for almonds, oats, salt, dates, and coconut oil. And so I've got the almonds and the oats and the salt in a Cuisinart, and then which is just a food processor if you don't have a Cuisinart. And then I'm going to process that until it becomes into fine crumble. Okay, so this looks like it's in fine crumble state. And then the next thing we're going to do is add some dates and process until it's crumbly again. So these are 10 dates that I've pitted and taken the pit out of. And before I do that, I also wanted to mention that Angela of Oh She Glows recommends lining a square pan with 2 pieces of parchment paper going opposite ways. So I've done that. The Cuisinart, and I put in the 10 dates, and then once we have processed the dates with the almonds, the oats, and the salt, I'm going to add coconut oil that I have melted, and then we're going to add that to the mixture currently in the Cuisinart and process until... Okay, that is all processed and sticky, and we now need to set aside 3/4 of a cup of the mixture to sprinkle, on top later, and then we're going to take the rest of the mixture, and then I'm going to put it in the pan. Okay, now we're going to add the coconut oil. And then process. Okay, so I've dumped it in the pan, and now I'm just going to spread it evenly across and pat it down is basically, that really helps it be sticky and kind of become one, if you will. And I'm just using a plastic or a rubber spatula. Okay, and you want to get that as even as possible and pat it down as much as you can. Now the next step is the date filling, which is 25 dates and 1/2 cup of water. And we're going to process that in a food processor until a paste forms. To pit a date, this is 23 dates. I think I didn't have 25, so we're going to see how 23 goes. But you just... They all have this little thing on the top, so I always remove that. Sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's there. And then I just take a small steak knife and split it in the middle and then take out the pit like that. So I'll do that 23 or 22 more times, and then I'll put it in the food processor. Okay, so the dates are in there with the water, and it's making a paste, and I'll show you what how it moves around. So it really moves around in a bubble, and you've got to either keep working the pulser on your Cuisinart or get in there with a spatula and move it around so that it processes better. It's getting kind of even now, so that's good. And then what we're going to do is, and if you're having problems, you can always add more water, but this is going pretty well. So I'm going to scoop out the mixture onto the crust and then gently spread it with a wet spatula. Okay, so this is what I spooned out of the Cuisinart, and now I just want to take a wet spatula and flatten it out. The idea behind a wet spatula, of course, is so that it doesn't stick. So I might need to keep wetting it because it's sticking quite a bit. Angela must have a magic hand. Yeah. So I'll try the other side and see how that goes. Okay, I finished spreading it out. I used a wet spatula, but I also kind of had clumps together and worked it out that way. But and then all you want to do after that is take the 3/4 of what was left of the bottom crust and then sprinkle it on top. And then it's no bake, so we're just going to put it in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover it with probably some plastic wrap. And then after it's been cooled down, these squares will be easier to cut and easier to serve. I'm excited for these. I thought they would be a good thing to have with tea in the morning or in the evening if I wanted. So that's the layers. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator now. If I said freezer, I meant refrigerator. Okay, so I've just pulled out the almond date bars from the refrigerator. They've been in there for about an hour, and I'm going to cut into them and take one out so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so it kind of fell apart a little bit in the bottom, and I think next time to fix that I would probably just use more oil and have it packed down better on the bottom so it doesn't fall apart. This is what it looks like after I cut it from the pan, so all the crumble falls down there too. But that is the 5-ingredient almond date bar from Oshi Glow's. I will include a link in the description of this video to Oshi Glow's blog so you can check out the recipe and ask Angela if you know any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.